Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
We would like to thank Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park's championship meet runs now through March 30th with high-quality action throughout, including the Florida Derby on Saturday, March 29th. Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Saturday morning as we kick off February 1st. Another big weekend down at Gulfstream. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. And a little bit later on the show, I caught up with him yesterday. We taped an interview with Dale Romans. Dale is on a great run down at Gulfstream, but he has some interesting runners in stakes action today. He has a first-time starter for our friends at West Point that he was a little interested in as well. And he's got a 3-year-old that was a 2-year-old stakes winner last year for West Point, Keep It Easy, who I noted was back on the work tab. So we caught up with that one and got an idea where we might see Keep It Easy next. But Dale Roman's coming up a little bit later on. Again, taped him yesterday, but live with us again on another big afternoon of stakes racing down at Gulfstream after Pegasus Day last week. Our friend Ron Nicoletti, you see him in the paddock pregame and pre-race. Ron, good morning.
Good morning, Seth. How are you doing up there, boy?
Very, very good. Once I get the car cleaned off, I'm doing okay. But and I tell you, I on days like this where I'm down and it splash is coming back to me on the Northway, I always remember your story of your decision to go down to Gulfstream, where you're walking down the street in New York City backwards because it's freezing rain coming. You said, "That's it, I'm done."
Yeah, I'm out of here. And exactly the true story, too. And I gave up. And it got me, so.
I love that. And I'll note as well, because I hear you talk about it, too. So you are a bona fide Florida person now. The last few weeks, watching you, Samantha, our friend Brian, who has become a transplant as well, you guys have been complaining about the cool weather down there, like 50s and 60s. It's boo-hoo. But I did have Dale on, as I said. I taped him yesterday. And Thursday, I saw him in the winner's circle with shorts on. So I assume the weather has turned.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's been the last couple of days. It's been absolutely fantastic. We had that little bit of a cold spell.
Yeah.
And for your information, it was 46 in the morning. That is cold out here. So. But it's been beautiful the last couple of days. Of course, fast lane track, firm turf course today. We got the Tapeta. We got a pretty nice car to put together. So should be a fun day racing like last week. The Pegasus races. What I liked about it, the actual World Cup Pegasus Invitational was a great betting race. Whoever you liked, it was a great betting race. The favorite won, but there's other ways you could have gone.
No, it was absolutely a great card. I'm glad you brought it up because I did ask the guys to pull up a replay of the stretch run, White Barrio. That was a nice card. Nice stakes races. Again, we talked to Dale about his winner on the turf sprinting, Coppola, who looked very good. Safi Joseph had a really big day in addition to White Barrio, but this was the highlight of the afternoon. White Barrio was a monster last Saturday.
I picked him, and just I thought he was coming into the race. I wasn't totally enamored with going two 7-furlong races and then stretching out. But that 7-furlong race, the one before where he broke bad, I thought that was his best race. I said, this horse is back, in my humble estimation, and he sure did prove it, So it was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was very impressive. A solid, I think it was a 109 buyer. It's just solid. Oh, and I will note, I give a lot of points to Locked as well. I had Locked a little down in my mix on the post position. So the post position had to be overcome, and then he got off to a bad start. So for Locked to get up for second, I think Pletcher's got a nice runner going forward this year too.
Yeah, I have a couple of jobs at the end of big races. I have to get the jockeys that are the meanest after they lose. So I had to talk to John Velasquez, and this is a PG rated show, so I can't tell you what he said about the break. And it was like 3 words, and I said to him, that's all you got to say? And he said, that's all I got to say. So you can just imagine what he said. We'll leave it at that.
So you put in, you type in like the hashtag, the @ and an exclamation point at the end, and that's
Right, one of those.
yeah, very good. And just before we move on, give us a little idea. It seemed like, looking on social media and just watching the broadcast and whatnot, seemed like a really nice crowd last weekend, and everybody looked out to be having a good time with a really good card supporting that whole event.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was like crowded. It's always good to see the beautiful people walking around.
Oh, Mike Tyson was there. Did you say hello to Mike Tyson?
I couldn't. Yeah, I was so busy on the air.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do, not even say hello to him. All I really wanted to do was stand next to him to see. You can't imagine because you only seen him on TV. I never got to see him in person.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to go see exactly. What is this guy that can take your head off in 1 minute look like?
Looked like he was having a fun time. Called the riders up for the big race. So it looked like a fun day. But again, fun day this afternoon as well. Let's hit on some of the stakes action that is coming up on this Saturday afternoon. And I pulled up, I have the printed page here, I'm showing the audience. You can go to the Gulfstream Park website, and there's a nice printable page with Ron's picks and comments. And we're going to start with the Holy Bull. And on your picks page every day, you have a best bet and a long shot. And I am very intrigued because your long shot of the day today is in the Holy Bull. I pulled up a replay. We're going to go back to December 28th. It's going to be Burnham Square, getting it done for Ian Wilkes. And that's your long shot play of the day today. This was a pretty nice looking victory in start number 3 after a couple of decent efforts in the first couple starts of the career. But you're going to go in that direction. I went a little more obvious with Tappan Street for Brad Cox. I put Ferocious underneath. Guns Loaded's interesting to me. Burning Glory. But jump in. I'm intrigued because I could have used Burnham Square off of the race we just watched as well. But give us your thoughts on the Holy Bull.
Well, Burnham Square was really ultra impressive when responding to the stretch out to the mile in the 16th and the addition of Blinken with that maiden. What I liked, I got to talk to Ducky Edgar Zayas yesterday on social media now, and just the fact that he had a break from the rail, which is tough. He was able to put the horse in good position, and the key to it is I just like the fact that this horse has a victory at the distance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're going to get a little bit of a price because Ian Wilkes, of course, an excellent trainer, but he's not the marquee like you said, Brad Cox. So I thought I'd get a little bit of a price, and he's the gelded son of Williams Map. So I just was taking a little bit of shot. Tappan Street, of course, you got to use the $1 million son of into mischief. Guns Loaded, I like on there too, stretching out, for Irad in the saddle. So, one the Mucho Macho Man. So definitely are using those horses. But I'll take a little bit of a shot with Burnham Square. And when I talked to Edgar, he just said the horse did it all on his own. So, if I could get 5, 6, 8 to 1, it would be nice.
Yeah, I think you'll get, as you say, with the other more prominent name, Brad Cox, $1 million horse in there, Ferocious, who has gotten a lot of press. I think you'll get a decent little value on Burnham Square. So interesting. I like that. All right, let's go to the girls. Obviously, the Holy Bull for the 3-year-old boys. The 12th race this afternoon is going to be for the 3-year-old fillies, the Forward Gal, going 7 furlongs. I pulled up a replay here. Number 11, Stunner. Well, the horse today will be number 11. In our replay, it's going to be number 1. This is going back to the Tempted in New York. This was 2 starts back. It was at the one-turn mile, then followed up down at Gulfstream going a mile and a 16th and just missed. But I thought this Tempted was the race we're kind of to shoot to get back to. So I have Stunner on top. It looks like you do too. Give us your thoughts in the Forward Gal.
When turning back to 7 furlongs after that 2 race that you were mentioning, win streak, ended, those were shorter distances. That was the slowest race in the history of races, in my dear girl. Came up slow. I'm going to toss that. I'm going to go back to those sprints. I was very impressed with this horse. So, Brad Cox, you're getting Tyler atop this daughter of Durbin. I think this horse bounces back. I mean, the big horse is Rojo Rita. You don't know what you're going to get. Also, Rick by Edgar Zayas, and this horse just drew off one by the length of the stretch, And talking to Edgar yesterday, he goes, the only thing we don't know is you go from a maiden breaker into a stake, which is common sense. So I like Stunner. I'm going to put a line through that, my dear girl division of our Sire Stakes, because 6 seconds slower than the boys or something that day. The boys division of that.
Yeah.
So I just can't believe that race was that slow. It was that slow, but I think this horse will bounce back.
Yeah, I'm right in the same boat. I put Rojo Rito in second, and Eclatant for Brad Cox might be a little bit interesting. For a Brad Cox horse, might offer a little touch of value in there. The Queen's MG, we saw the Safi horse win a stakes race up at Saratoga this past summer. I'm going to be interested to see what she does in her 3-year-old debut with Irad on board.
Yeah, I missed her every time. But I didn't, every time I did better, she won $80, whatever it was. She's one of those horses that was chasing. Just to go back to the Holy Bull for 1 second, you mentioned Ferocious. I faded this horse. I just went back and looked at the Breeders' Cup. I know Mike Welch, who's in our office with us from the Daily Race, told me, Brian, I think the horse is going to run well. I just didn't like that race, even though he came back and closed some ground. Just wanted to get that out about Ferocious, so he jump all over the place.
Yeah, no, I have him right underneath, but I didn't put him on top. As I say, he's been getting a lot of press, and the numbers are very good and look good, in prior races, finished second behind East Avenue in the Breeders' Futurity. But I'm a little questionable on Ferocious myself. Yeah. All right, those the Holy Bull 3-year-olds going 2 turns, but a little bit earlier on the card, we have 3-year-olds. As is typical now in the 21st century, you get a big card with a big 3-year-old race at 2 turns. You usually get a 3-year-old sprint. And the 9th race today is the Swale. And it looks like you and I, once again, are thinking very similarly. I went back to a maiden special at the Fairgrounds December 26th. This is the career debut for Gunmetal. Gunmetal will be the number 10 in here for Brad Cox, Windstar, and company. I thought it's a big ask to step out of a maiden debut effort and then into stakes company, but I thought Gunmetal looked pretty good. Grayscale is certainly going to be a player, another Safi runner that has a shot. Donut God coming over from the stakes win at Tampa. Oh, did he?
Scratch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
good note. Okay. And then Macho Music was a little bit interesting as well. But give us your thoughts on the Swale.
Well, Gunmetal's that son of gun runner debuts locally, as you mentioned, that Swift, set the Swift fraction. It's clear to win that race at the fairground. The sheep guys are doing dances in the street. This horse got a 0. You never see a horse this age get a 0 on the sheet. So I don't use the sheets that much. I use my own little numbers, but they seem to think this is the horse. Brad Cox seems to think this is the horse. So when I put my rainbow together, I might be singling this horse on my B ticket or A ticket or something like that, because that's the newest fastest horse that ever lived. We have one every week here.
So 0 on the thoroughbraves is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a number. That's definitely interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see what it is. But that always happens every time I put together. If I bet on the fastest horse that ever lived, you can finish third.
You and the rest of the horse racing betting public, we're all in that camp. Before we let you go, I just want to touch on the human side of things a little bit. Again, last weekend, Safi had a really good weekend. But as they say, how about Dale Romans? When I interviewed him yesterday, and he didn't have any runners yesterday, so it's still the same number. He's won 4 of his last 5 starts down there at Gulfstream. And I will also tout Dylan Davis, I think, made the right move. I had Mark Cassidy on last weekend, and Mark said, yeah, Dylan called me a couple of months ago and said, I may come down to Florida. And Mark said, I'll put you on horses. And it has turned out to be the right move for Dylan Davis as well.
He's a good rider.
Yeah.
He got to see Blossom this summer at Saratoga, and he just brought that form right down here. He sits the perfect trip, and he gives the horses a chance to win. It's not just go to the front, and then, he sits off. He's a great judge of pace. So it turned out Dale, I guess losing all that weight has done something for Dale's percentages, I guess.
Yeah.
I was going to rub his head the other day for good luck.
Yeah, he looks great, but it's just been fun to see him this past week, as they say. And he said, people will see it in the interview coming up, but he said, I tried to think back. I don't know if I've ever won 4 in a row before. So he's really on a nice roll down there, and it's easy to root for him. Dale's a fun guy to root for. Ron, as always, we appreciate the visit. We certainly enjoy you, Samantha, Brian, the pregame, the paddock commentary as well. Pass on my hellos to all of them, Mike Welch as well, and all the other folks in the press office. We'll be down for Florida Derby, but we potentially, I would think we'll talk to you before then as well, because there'll be some other big weekends coming up. But have a great day today. Appreciate the stop.
You got it. Take care. Bye.
Ron Nicoletti from Gulfstream Park. Again, a great stakes day today after a big weekend last weekend. But the Swale, the Holy Bull, the Forward Gal, it's going to be a nice day today down at Gulfstream. We'll talk more about Gulfstream with trainer Dale Romans, because, again, he has a couple interesting horses in the races today, including Kinetic Control in the Holy Bull, who he kind of thought was interesting. And I will say, I think is interesting, too, making the first start as a 3-year-old off a little bit of a layoff, off a nice win to break the maiden in the last start as a 2-year-old. So that might be one to watch. But we'll talk about that and more with Dale Romans when we come back. Stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Action again this weekend down at Gulfstream Park, and our friend Dale Romans has a couple of entries there. And boy, over the last week, we'll review some of the nice wins from Dale Romans down at Gulfstream as we tape this going back to last weekend, Pegasus weekend, including stakes. Dale is 4 for his last 5, so it's been quite a run. Dale, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be on the show.
Yeah, happy to have you on and just reflect a little bit. What's it like to get on a little bit of a run like that? You know, kicking off with a nice stake, and we'll talk more about that specifically in a few. But what's the last week been like? It has to be a lot of fun. Just repeat into the winner's circle.
It's been fun. I don't know. I was trying to think of any other time I've won 4 races in a row. I couldn't come up with another time. And they were good races for my good people.
Yeah, well, as I say, we'll hit on some of those specifically. Also wanted to get a little update because, again, we're taping on Friday. So yesterday, Thursday, saw you in the winner's circle with Madeline's Promise, and you were wearing shorts, which I like to see because up here in upstate New York, we live vicariously looking at Gulfstream. So it seems like the weather has turned from what, at least by Florida standards, was kind of a cold snap the last couple of weeks.
We're getting the weather we pay for down here with this high rent. Finally turned the corner. It was a little chilly and rainy down here to start off, but it turned the corner. Yeah,
no question about it. And as I say, that's good to see, certainly for those of us up here, because we like to watch and see the sunshine and just imagine. All right, let's take a look first in preview before I do a little review, as I say, of some of the nice wins. But let's do a little preview. Holy Bull is the highlight on the Saturday card. 3-year-olds going a mile and a 16th. We're going to go back and take a look. November 22nd down at Churchill, we're going to see Kinetic Control break the maiden in a nice way. This is a horse that started the career at Ellis and Churchill with a couple of seconds, then had a kind of a troubled trip at Keeneland, but broke the maiden in the 4th start. This is ambitious to come back like this in the Holy Bull. So give us some thought. This is the kind that I think, though, lightly raced relatively as a 2-year-old, get a little break. I think they can come back and improve. But give us your thoughts, Kinetic Control, and your thought process on picking the Holy Bull for the return.
Well, he's got 4 races under his belt, and I think he's a quality racehorse. I mean, he's not this time just a runner. Everybody sees that around the country. You know, his first couple of races, he ran winning races. He just got beat. And the race at Keeneland, I tell you, he came back the next day and was sick. So he could have been feeling good going. He didn't show us anything going into the race, but he came out of it sick, and took him a while to get over it. But I've always thought a lot of this horse. And the way he ran at Churchill, it was a quality field of horses. He handled them pretty easily. And, you know, like you said, this is the time of year. You either step forward or you don't. And everything he's shown me in the barn and training since his win is that he's ready to step forward.
Give us your thoughts. What are your expectations for tomorrow for Kinetic Control?
Well, he has to step up, and he has to go a little faster. But I tell you, he acts like he's turned the corner. We got a good post in the one hole, you know, because you brake right on the turn. He's just got to brake clean and put himself in position. I
was going to ask you that. It's a mile and a 16th. I would think one of those 1, 2, or 3 posts would be what you're shooting for.
Yeah, you like to have that here because they brake right on the turn, and if you're outside, you can sure get hung wide. But he's in the perfect spot. We got a good rider, and we'll let him do what he wants to.
Very good.
Him a little bit out there and see where he ends up.
All right, let's also look at the Kitten's Joy on the Saturday card. This one on the grass for the 3-year-olds. And I love the 3-year-olds on the turf. I say it all the time. From the beginning of the year to the end of the year, all the venues seem to have a nice stakes race for the 3-year-olds on the turf. The Kitten's Joy is part of that year-long situation. You have Maui Strong for our friends at West Point and Company. I'm going to look at the Maiden Breaker 2-back at Churchill in November. Maui Strong's going to be the number 12 horse here, so had to overcome a little bit of a post position, did it very nicely. And then you came out of the Maiden Breaker, ran third in the Dania Beach. I think the winner, Mibago, is going to be a nice one. So I thought that was nice spotting out of the maiden race to try the stakes race and ran well. Expectations on Saturday for Maui Strong?
You know, Maui should be the hunch bet of the race. Of course, I train Kitten's Joy. He's by Kitten's Joy, running into Kitten's Joy. So for hunch players, that's one way to look at it. But this is a quality horse, and I think he's a lot better on the turf than he is the synthetic. And the 12-hole at Churchill Downs going a mile on the turf might be the worst post position in American racing. And he overcame that and came home in the last quarter in 22 and change and did it the right way. I expect him to run really big in here.
Give us
like there's some pace for him to run it, and I think stretching out a little further is going to help him.
And his game plan is to have a little late kick, no question about it. But give us your thought process. Again, you have a similar situation with Kinetic Control, but as a trainer, you come out of a maiden and go right into a stakes race. And I guess some of that is part of 21st century racing, where maybe there aren't the conditions to aim for now. But give us a thought process and stepping out of that maiden and going right into the Dania Beach with Maui Strong.
Well, it's different doing it with a 3-year-old, I think.
Yeah.
You can always back up to your allowance races, but you're only going to get so many opportunities to run in these bigger races when they're straight 3-year-olds. And not many of them have done a whole lot by this time of year, and you just got to know your horse. If you like your horse and it's doing good, take a couple of shots before they go through their conditions. We can always back up when we get back into Kentucky if we need to go away to that. But I don't think these horses will have to. I think they're good horses.
Yeah, you make a great point. At this point in the year, you step into a stakes race, and for the most part, it's almost a non-winners of 1 or 2 other than kind of a situation. So why not take your shot?
Right. There's nobody to be scared of right now.
Yeah. Also, early on the day, there is a maiden special for Florida Breds, race number 2. Always like to get updates on first-time starters. You have Sorcerer's Silver in there, again, for West Point and Company. What are your thoughts on this one in debut? You got IRAD on board. Again, it's Sorcerer's Silver in the second race.
I really like this horse. He also seems like a quality 3-year-old, and he came to me kind of late. They bought him at Timonium, gave him a little break, and we've liked everything he's done. And I didn't find out he was Florida bred until we started shipping down here. So, you know, I thought he was a solid open company horse, but we might as well take advantage of being Florida bred and run in the restricted race.
And it looks like a couple of his workouts really kind of pop off the page.
He's worked super. Ever since we've had him, he's not done a thing wrong. His works have just gotten better and better. I think this horse has quality too, so we'll find out tomorrow. I mean, first-time starters aren't my gig, but it's a good spot for him. This is a really fast horse, and he's running against Florida breds.
Also, it's 7 furlongs, which I think is kind of it's a tough distance to start at, but I guess maybe the opportunity, this opportunity came up, I suppose.
He was ready to run. It was you don't get that many Florida bred races, maidens races to go here. You would think you would get a lot more, but they don't go as often as you think. And so we just put him in, and 7/8 is historically statistically a tough spot for first timers, but if anybody's going to do it, I think he can do it.
All right, so we'll look for him tomorrow again in that second State Bred Maidens. Now I want to go back and do a little review. It's been fun to see a step into the winner's circle over the past week, and going back to last Saturday, Pegasus Day, relatively early in the card. It was the 5th race. It was the Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint. We're going to watch number 12, Coppola, get it done. And get it done pretty nicely. Start to finish, Tyler Gaffleone got him out in front from the outside post position. And a couple of horses make a little late run at him, but I don't think really threaten. This was a nice effort. But as I look at the PPs, I have to ask you as a trainer, you're coming in off a win in the Janus back at the end of December. You did the same thing last year. You came out of the Janus. Now, last year, 4th in the Janus and then won this race. This past December, you won the Janus and came back to win this race. So now, repeat winner in the Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint. And given that situation, and you were kind of on the same, lead-in as far as using the stake in the at the end of December, did you have this race on your radar for a while now?
Well, yeah, he won it last year. There's only so many turf sprints when a horse has won almost 800,000. So he'll probably run about every race he ran last year. He'll run again this year. And he's just a cool horse, and people he's starting to get a little bit of a following. I tell you, they went 42 and change in that race the other day. I don't think I've ever had a horse go that fast. It's fun going.
Yeah, it was, and I'm just looking at it. You're right, 20 and change, 42 and change, 54. And, speaking of that, I mean, you go back to last year, he was, 4th in that Jaipur up at Saratoga with Cogburn, which is just a phenomenal. To run 4th in that race by less than 4 lengths was incredible. And again, you mentioned maybe the same scenario. Came out of this race, the win in this race last year, and ran in the Silks Run in March at Gulfstream. Is that, it may be too early to really make a decision, but is that kind of the game plan?
If everything goes well, that'd be the same game plan with the big goal getting back to Saratoga this summer for the big race, and we don't have to chase Cogburn anymore. We did that a few times last year.
Yeah, all right. Looking forward to that. Also on the card, let's hit on a couple others. A little earlier on the card, a starter handicap, $100,000 up for grabs on the synthetic. We're going to take a look at number 2, Dreaming of Mo, Javier Castellano on board. And as I looked at the PPs here, what jumped out at me a little bit, 2 starts back, he won an off-the-turfer in the slop at Churchill, followed that up running a close-up 5th in the Cardinal on the grass at Churchill, and then comes down and tries the synthetic for only the 3rd time. He'd been on the synthetic, she had been on the synthetic a couple of times at Turfway with a win. So now 2 for 3 on the synthetic. Is that maybe something you'll aim for going forward?
Well, she's run big on the dirt. She's run good on the turf. She's run good on the synthetic. You don't see many horses like that.
Yeah.
She can do about anything. So, yeah, we're going to look at all options and try to get her a bigger stakes win going forward. But, that was nice to win for Mark Holiday, the chairman of the board there at Nauer. That's his filly, and he paid a lot of money for her, and that sure helped her value the other day.
Yeah, it was a nice looking win, as I say. And then we'll go to Sunday again in the midst of that really nice streak you've been having over the last week. We'll go to Sunday and take a look at Cyclone Mischief getting it done. This is a horse back in 2023, won the Fountain, or ran 3rd in the Fountain Youth, 3rd in the Florida Derby, had come in off a close 2nd place finish at Churchill in November. But again, last Sunday, Cyclone Mischief, the number 6 horse here on the replay under IROD, gets it done pretty convincingly despite a little bobble at the start. Give us your impressions on the win from Cyclone Mischief.
Well, ever since we backed him up and made him into a kind of a closing sprinter, even though he's a little closer today than I expected, every race has been a nice race. And we'll probably keep him doing that the rest of the year and look for some big races for him down the road.
Yeah, that's interesting because as I look at the PPs, as I mentioned, the Florida Derby, the Fountain of Youth, and then at Keeneland last April, a mile and an eighth, and then subsequently you did kind of go 6.5. How do you make that decision? And is it based on the maybe the first couple of races at that distance, or are you making the decision watching him in the morning?
Well, in the morning, I mean, he ran well going along when he was younger, but they wasn't getting it done. So we had to try to change something, and we thought we'd sprint him and help him off the pace and see how it worked out. And it was definitely a success, and we'll keep him doing that for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wanted to touch on one more horse because I see he's back on the work tab, and that's Keep It Easy. We're going to take a look at a replay last November, towards the end of November, the Ed Brown down at Churchill Downs. Keep It Easy is going to be the number 7 horse here, getting it done. We saw him up at Saratoga, didn't fare well in the Saratoga Special, had some trouble in there, had come in off a maiden win at Churchill. So now we're looking at 4 starts and a couple of wins, including the stakes win. And as I say, I looked and saw he's had 3 works going back to the first of the year. What's your game plan going forward with Keep It Easy?
Well, he's actually going to work today and which is Saturday. We're taping on Friday, but he's going to work on Saturday. And he's a fast horse. At Saratoga Special, he had no chance. I hadn't had a horse fall out of the gate so bad in my life. And he just wrapped up on him and galloped him around there. We gave him a little time to get that out of his head, and that was a huge race at Churchill. And he's bred to go around 2 turns. So we're going to point him towards the Fountain of Youth and then figure where he go from there.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. And again, also another one owned in partnership with our friends at West Point. So looking forward to the return of Keep It Easy. Dale, before I let you go, I have to inquire a little bit about some of the news down in Florida, because I know you've been involved. You've been quoted in some of the articles. You also, and I think this decoupling issue at Gulfstream is bigger than Gulfstream and Florida. I think it affects, horsemen across the country, fans across the country. At the end of the year last year, you were elected the president of the Kentucky HBPA. And as I said, you've been involved in the conversations down there. Talk a little bit about this decoupling issue that's come up over the past couple of weeks, and what's the mood like down there?
Well, everybody's nervous about it. We don't understand it. We don't have a path. We don't know what's really going to happen. If it's going to close Gulfstream Park and let somebody else come in and build another racetrack down here. I know there's people that would like to. It's, at the end of the day, it's her property. She can do whatever she wants. But you got to remember, the only reason they got this casino license over here was to grow their core business of horse racing. And that's what's happened around the country at all these racinos. Is a lot of these places wouldn't have gotten gaming, and they wouldn't have been the operators if gaming came into their area if it wasn't for growing their core business. It's a $7 billion economic impact in the state of Florida. And if Gulfstream goes away, it basically goes to zero. So we got to do what we can to keep it open. If she ends up wanting to close it, then it's her prerogative. But we got to have racing, I think, in South Florida.
Yeah,
lose this whole area.
As I say, I think for fans and horsemen alike, particularly at this time of year, Gulfstream is such an important part of the American racing landscape. It is a little scary for all of us. And, what is kind of the game plan going forward? Is it just to continue with the discussions?
I guess we just continue talking. There's so much uncertainty, and that's the biggest problem. If we say, you want to close in 3 years, you're going to close, and another operator could come in and look for a facility, place to build it. I know there's some out there that would like to do that. But we just need to know what direction we're going, what her real plan is, and so we can get something figured out and move forward. Yeah,
hoping for absolutely the best because, again, it is a little bit of a scary situation. You look at some of the other areas and venues and circuits around the country, worry a little bit, but we're hoping for the best down there. Dale, as always, appreciate the conversation. Keep the roll going. As I say, it's been fun to see you in the winner's circle, and we'll talk again in the future.
Thanks, Seth. Thanks for having me.
All right. Dale Romans, again, a couple of entries coming up on the card on Saturday at Gulfstream and Stakes action. It's just a fabulous week going back to the Pegasus card last weekend as well. Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus. Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer. Wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at capitalotb.com.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Falbrough. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a three-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Saturday morning. Seth Merrow in the studio. Thanks for joining us. Thanks also to Ron Nicoletti and Dale Romans for taking the time, setting up the really nice afternoon down at Gulfstream today. Looking forward to it. We'll take closer looks, obviously, this afternoon on OTB Live. Do want to alert you coming up tomorrow here at the Clubhouse Racebook every Sunday throughout February, King of the Hill contest. So come on down, have a little extra fun on a Sunday afternoon here at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. And don't forget to keep up with all the promotions and events and contests we have here, because it gives you a chance for a little free money. And it worked out yesterday. Folks came down, had a little crowd out here for the happy hour bankroll. We selected a team at random, and I played on behalf of the team. And given the carryover in the late pick 5 at Tampa, we added a little money to my bankroll, and I jumped in with a pick 5 ticket, which we hit. And so the bankroll team had hit a little something else. The pick 5, it wasn't huge because there were some short prices in there, but we had a couple of okay prices at the end, which gave us a little bit more. So I paid $360 for 50 cents. And then I had another little hit earlier in the day. So everybody on the team wound up with a little under $40 for free money for showing up and playing the contest, putting your name in the hat and getting selected. So again, free money courtesy of Capital TV for the bankroll team yesterday. And I hope you jumped in. I think you could have put a modest ticket together. I kind of kicked myself. My ticket was too expensive because it wound up to be 3 of my top picks and 2 of my right underneath second picks. And as I say, it started out very short. $4, $6.40, $3.40. The $3.40 was a killer, though, because I ran second and third with 7-to-1 shot and a 5-to-1 shot. So you get the $3.40 after the 2 short prices to start. You're shopping around now to make something happen in that pick 5. If the 7-to-1 shot had gotten up, given the $3.60, I have to think this would have been much nicer. And the 7-to-1 shot in that third leg, it was a 16th pole. I thought we were going to breeze on by. And then they got up and engaged each other, and the $3.40 horse just got me. Top pick won in the fourth leg at $14 and change. So we had as a top pick, the longest price in the sequence, and then second pick won the finale at $8.80. And you can go back and watch the replay. Woo, that finale, it was one of those bing, I got it, I don't have it, I've got it, I don't have it, I've got it. And under the wire, I thought I had it, but it was close. When the photo was revealed, we wound up with the pick 5. So again, congratulations to the happy hour bankroll team yesterday. And as I say, keep up with the promotions and events. We'll have another, I believe, happy hour at the end of this month. The last Friday of the month. But you can always go to capitalotb.com, click on the promotions link, and look for the events calendar that keeps you up on all our events here at the clubhouse, online, and whatnot. And again, there's been a lot of free money given out. Going back to Saratoga, the great play of the day, with the Brooklyn Cowboy and Steve Bick. They wound up with a nice chunk of change at the end of the meet. We've done some of these bankrolls online and whatnot. As I say, there's been the chance for our customers to walk away with a nice chunk of free change. So keep up with the promos and events and whatnot, and maybe have a little extra fun. We talked a little bit about Gulfstream today, but there is other action, obviously. I'll start in New York with the Withers. And they also have the Toboggan and the Ruthless. And I'm just looking. The Ruthless for the 3-year-old gals. I used Win and You're In on top. We'll see how that works out. It's a modest, it's a short field in here. 6-5 favorite is Moonlit Drive off a pretty good-looking debut effort. Not stunning, but a little more experienced. I use Win and You're In. And again, we'll talk about these races live this afternoon. The 6th race is the Toboggan for older horses going 7. I used Maximus Meridius on top in there. Coastal Mission looks a little bit interesting. Running Son of a Gun, Nelson Avenue. Nelson Avenue off the last start. I'm going to be interested to see where the betting public goes, but that looks like a little bit of an aberration. We'll find out more. And then finally, the highlight of the day, because 3-year-olds and this time of year on the Derby Trail, those kind of races always take a little bit of precedent. It is the Withers. 9 furlongs, $250,000 up for grabs. It's going to be the 7th race this afternoon at Aqueduct. I took a shot with Global Steve. It's a Butch Reed horse. He's based down in Parks. And the last couple of seasons, Park shippers have done all right in the winter season. Normally a Park shipper in New York, I'll be a little skeptical. But last year they were okay. This winter, I've been paying attention a little bit. But the Butch Reed horses last year, in particular from Parks, did okay. And that included a win in this race. Butch Reed last year won this race with a horse based down at Parks with him. Won at 9-1 with Uncle Heavy, with the same jock that we have today. And he did it off a win in a December stake at Parks. Scenarios building up to be very similar for Global Steve. So I'll take a little Global Steve this afternoon in the Withers. At Santa Anita today, the 2-year-old champion comes back. It's the 4th race, 1:28, about 1:30 their time. So 2:30 to 4:30 our time. Mark that on your agenda and take a look at the Bob Lewis. Again, it is a small field of only 5. I haven't seen scratches. But boy, there's at least three in here that are solid or worth paying attention to at this point. Obviously, Citizen Bull, the 2-year-old champion, last seen winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, won the American Pharoah before that. And so this is the 3-year-old comeback, the start of the 3-year-old campaign. Baffert runner, that one will take attention. But Bob Baffert also has Matticat Road, who comes in off a nice maiden breaker. They debuted in a stakes race at Del Mar. So clearly they thought they had something. Ran second to Bullard, then followed up with a win in the second start. Matticat Road has gotten a little buzz, Derby talk early on. And then Rodriguez, yet another Baffert runner. Baffert has 3 of the 5. Wesley Ward has a runner in here. But Rodriguez, again, with Citizen Bull in here, Rodriguez is going to be very interesting. The morning line has Citizen Bull at 6-5, Rodriguez at 7-5. Rodriguez debuted at Del Mar and ran second, and then at 6.5 furlongs, and then came back to run a mile at Santa Anita in the second start, won off by 7, and got a 101 buyer. January 4th, early in the 3-year-old season, to get a number like that. So again, small field, but there's at least 3 very, very interesting horses today in the Bob Lewis. So, and as I say, that'll go off at about 4:30 our time. Did want to mention friends at the Racing Museum. Always like to tout their events because the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame. You know, it's great that we have the the National Museum and Hall of Fame for horse racing right here in our backyard. If you've never visited, get up. It's right across the street from the track, right on Union Avenue in Saratoga. They modernized things going back a few years, and the Hall of Fame room in particular. It used to be you walked in, and there was the Hall of Fame plaque there, and now it's all digital. And so you can punch and bring up various people, and a plaque comes up, a digitized plaque, but then you can look at their whole career. And the plaque there was a fault in the plaque in that, jockeys and trainers, they can get into the Hall of Fame while they're still racing, while they're still active. And so the plaque would give their career stats up until the plaque was made, when it was a physical plaque. But now, being digital, you get the whole career and videos and whatnot. There's a great video that runs at 3 times a day, maybe, I'm not sure, but you can check in that Hall of Fame room. It's kind of a 3D experience. That's a great thing to visit as well. But then again, just to walk around and see all the memorabilia and whatnot. If you've never been, stop. But I bring it up because tonight there is a fundraising event, the 3rd annual countdown to the Triple Crown. That will be tonight. It'll go out from 5 to 7:30. There will be some silent auction items and an online auction. You can go to the national, if you can make it tonight, make it. Have some fun. I went last year, shot some video. It's a fun event. Nice crowd, a lot of familiar faces. So if you can go tonight, do it. If you can't make it tonight, though, go to the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame website, click on events, and then the countdown to the crown, and there's a link to the online auction. So a lot of these items are available to look at and bid on online. So keep that in mind. The event tonight, $20 for museum members, $35 for non-members. Tickets will be available for purchase at the door. Many of the auction items are on display there. And the auction items include, event packages and experience packages, unique items. Again, if you're a horse racing fan, you will find not one or two, you'll find a few things that you will feel you have to bid on. There's wine, soda, light refreshments, beer, entertainment. And again, it goes to obviously benefit the museum. So keep that in mind for this evening. Again, 5 to 7:30, National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame in Saratoga, right across the street from the track. Union Avenue. New York Racetrack Chaplaincy, friend Umberto and company, the president of the chaplaincy, Ramon Dominguez, but they announced just within the past couple of days that this summer at their annual Saratoga brunch, they will honor John and Leona Velasquez. Good choice. They have done a lot to support the backstretch community, and they're honoring them in that effort. They will get the John Hendrickson and Mary Lou Whitney Award for their longstanding support of the New York backstretch. And again, it's an annual fundraising brunch for the chaplaincy, who does great work. I have Umberto on every summer with me, and we talk a little bit about that. Usually we promote the jockey basketball game. That's another great fundraising event. But the brunch, I see pictures on social media, and I think, man, I'd love to go to that. Unfortunately, it's a brunch and on a Wednesday, and I'm typically on the backstretch doing TV. I get an invite every year, and I'm lined up sitting on Clare Court doing TV. But again, if you get the chance, a lot of fun, a lot of racetrack people are there, and you'll have a great time. Just take my word for it. It is going to come up on Wednesday, August 13th at the Saratoga National, the golf course out there. And again, honoring this year John and Leona Velasquez. So keep that in mind for the upcoming summer season. I'm going to wrap it up because I think they're going to kick off the pregame down at Gulfstream shortly. Ron said he thought about 10:55, and with the big card today, that's coming up. So I'll wrap it, and I'm looking up there because on my monitor up there, I have the signal, and they're showing 68 minutes and they just have a shot of the track. But I would think they will be coming on, according to what Ron said, within the next couple of minutes. So I will wrap it up, and I think I've pretty much hit on everything. Again, there's a King of the Hill contest tomorrow here at the Clubhouse Racebook. We'd love to have you come today and enjoy the racing action. Don't forget, on the weekends, our sports screens on the far end of the room have all the prominent sports, college basketball and whatnot. So you can come down and watch racing and still not miss your favorite sports as well. Have lunch at Black Bear. They have a great menu and a lot of nice items that you can come down and enjoy. A little lunch, a little racing, a little sports and whatnot. So we'd love to see you down here this afternoon. I am going to be back in probably about an hour or so, because Gulfstream does have a 12 o'clock post time today. So keep that in mind as well. So I'll be back, like I say, a little less than an hour maybe, to jump in and take a look at that opener at Gulfstream and beyond. I'll look at Gulfstream and Aqueduct today, but we will have plenty more on the agenda as well. All right. Oh, and I didn't mention, there are two nice stakes at Tampa today. Keep that in mind. The Endeavor with Breath Away, who I think could be interesting. Venencia for Chad Brown. Breath Away goes out for Christophe Clement, Dean Reeves and company. Saffron Moon for Chad Brown. Ocean Club. Damasio at a price for Kathleen O'Connell. Maybe worth a look in the Endeavor. And then coming up in the Tampa Bay a little bit later, grade 3 event on the grass. Northern Invader for our friends at West Point. Cherie DeVoe ships in from the fairgrounds. Northern Invader, very interesting. And Running Bee for Chad Brown. Couple of nice stakes, turf stakes today at Tampa Bay Downs. All right. Seth Merrow, Racing Across America. Hopefully we gave you some good ideas, some entertainment, and some information. That's always the game plan. So hopefully we accomplished that this morning. Again, I'll be back in about an hour or so for OTB Live on a Saturday afternoon. So we'll see you then. We would like to thank Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park's championship meet runs now through March 30th with high-quality action throughout, including the Florida Derby on Saturday, March 29th.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.